You are tuned in to Ryan Campbell, Soup to Nuts.
Welcome to Ryan Campbell, Soup to Nuts, with another episode for that. Now we got through that. Today we are working on the Murano behind me, 2007 Nissan Murano, and we're doing a basic brake job. So I'll walk you through a little bit of the steps of how to go about that when you run into problems, because I'm going to run into problems. You can count on it, because that's what my life's all about. That's what I'm good at. That's what I'm known for. My friends call me the problem. You know what I mean? Alright, so I'll walk you through the steps. I'll do some videoing, and I'm probably going to do some sped up video here and there, and who the hell knows what I'm going to do. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. I'm just kind of floating through life and just like one of those floaty guys in front of an auto dealership. I'm just, whichever way the wind blows, that's where Soup to Nuts goes. Alright, so I think I'm going to start with the driver's side front wheel. Usually in most vehicles, the front brakes are usually the worst, because the front brakes do most of the braking. If you think about it, when you hit the brakes, your nose kind of dies a little bit, and your ass gets up. Kind of how you like a girl. That's how I like it. So obviously, you know, the full momentum of the front brakes. That's why front brakes on cars are almost, so I don't know, maybe not always, but they're usually bigger on the front. Sorry, I'm sweating. It's hotter than in Satan's nutsack out here. So we'll start on the front left, front driver's side, and I'll do a little of this and get some done here. What you gotta say about that? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. If you're old here, I don't care. Just subscribe. Give me a like if you like the video. Throw me a comment. Tell me what I could do better, what I'm good at. I don't know. Tell me whatever the hell you want to tell me. Let me be your therapist. I'm here for you. Alright, let's go. Alright, here in the driver's side wheel well. First thing I like to do is, because once you get this off, the only thing that's going to hold it from dropping is the line. I'm not replacing lines or anything like that. So you don't want the line just holding, because this rubber line, you know, it could rip somewhat easily. So what I like to do is feed make sure you get it on there a little bit. There's all sorts of ways you could do this. You could use zip ties to hang it up, or straps, and this is just what I got on hand. So I'm just going to wrap it around the spring of the front suspension, and just make sure you wrap it tight off a little bit, however you do it, just to make sure, because it does have a little weight to it, so it will pull down a little bit, so you don't want anything that's going to let it fall. And you got that done. It's not a 17, it's a 19. I'm going to break out the old big boy here. So basically, there's a nut here on the caliper, right here, and then one down low. These are a little bit smaller, and then these basically, there's two pieces to the caliper. You got the main part, I don't know what it, more technical term. The main part has the piston in it that actually puts the pressure on the pads, and then you have like a bracket. So these bolts here hold the piston part and the bracket part together. So, and then you have two other bolts that you can't really see them on camera. There's one here, there's one down low. And basically what they do is they hold the bracket part to the hub itself to mount it nice and tight. So basically what I usually do, I just usually loosen these. These are smaller, usually 12 or 14 millimeter. These are the ones, these are usually bigger, 17 or 19, you know, depending on the car, different size, whatever the case. But the ones that hold it to the hub are usually bigger than these. So these I just break loose, loosen them up, so because that way it could go move a little bit, and then I take these all the way off. to get the caliper completely off here, because you want to get it completely off so you can replace the rotor. So right now I'm just breaking them free because they tend to get tight over time. I got the big boy here, but obviously the big boy is harder to maneuver. And the big boy isn't doing what I need it to do, so we're going to break the other big boy out here. And we got a stuck socket. There we go. Not want to come. Method number 2. Oh, method number 2, obviously you put a pipe on the end of the big ratchet, and it creates more leverage. Switch to a smaller ratchet, a little easier to maneuver. Damn it! The socket's stuck on the nut, or the bolt. This is ridiculous. Always an adventure. This is the ridiculous part. You can see it's slammed on crooked. It's jammed on there. Finally, loosen up these top guys a little more. I don't usually take these all the way out. Unless they're frozen, then I'll take them out to lube them up or whatever, but some people take them out. I guess you can really do it super thoroughly, take them all out, lube everything out, because sometimes there are kind of pins in here, and sometimes they get a little frozen, but it's just, my daily. If it was the 350Z, I would definitely take the pins out, clean them up and everything. You get to the end. You want to support this part with your hand so it doesn't drop, because you might have to readjust the strap or whatever you got. And that froze on there a little bit. You usually kind of pry it up. I usually pry it up from the bottom. There we go. And get the rotor off. This isn't horrible, but it might be able to be recut, but I just like to buy new ones because I like to buy new ones. It's not horrible. Inside's a little bit worse, a little more lip. Scoring isn't too bad. But I already got new ones, so we're doing new ones. Perfect. Now, for the fun part, taking the pads out. Got a rubber glove, little piece of rubber glove in there. You see, it's kind of like a separate little plate here. Sometimes these aren't already put on for you. You want to have these on because basically this reduces noise. It reduces noise. So that's what you want to make sure these are on there. They'll come with your pads, with the new pads. A little trick here. Sometimes the pads are a bitch to get in and out, so you can take one of the nuts off here, and then this will. I left the top one, so it's kind of like a hinge pin right now. So basically, you kind of just hinged it up. These feel pretty good, but sometimes these are a bitch to get in or out. And also, this piston here, you have to press it in because As the pads wear, they get skinnier. Say, take a look at that one. The thickness of the on this side, on your left side, or right. I don't know what side of the screen you're on, but on this side with the line, that's the part that wears. So you can see how thin it is here, and I'll show you a new one. And this is a new one. It's fatter. Sometimes they're a lot worse than when I pulled off, but you know, this material wears down over time, and as it wears down, the piston gets you know, tighter and tighter, because obviously that's, you know, what it has to squeeze. It has less to squeeze. So I know I'm giving you great terminology here. Love it. There's the clamp. Can I bring a goddamn clamp over here? Oh, there it is. They make special tools for this, but I don't have the special tool. Good old C-clamp, good strong C-clamp should do the trick for you. It will be kind of tough, but you should see it here. You should see it start to squeeze. This part should go down a little bit, or quite a bit. It will be tight though. But you gotta do it, otherwise you won't fit it back on. And it should bottom out for you. And you can just get the clamp out of there. Since these came with it, I'm gonna try to replace these too. Screwdriver would help. I got these little clips in here. Pull the old ones out. Screwdriver would have helped me, but I got it out by hand. I need a screwdriver right here. It's over there. New pad. For some reason, these are always a to line up. Ow! Hey. Come on, you little piece of shit. Get in the hole. Always a pain. Ow! Gotta be a pain in my. Why can't you just go like you're supposed to? God damn, you piece of shit. Get the in the hole. God damn, you little bastard. I hate this, you mother piece of. God damn it! Pain in my goddamn. Yeah, that's it. Go to the street, you goddamn little creeper cart. Go into your hole. Fucking getting a cramp here and shit. God damn this piece of. I'm gonna murder your goddamn mother. Go, goddammit! Right on! God damn it! Why do you have to be so difficult? Probably still not on. The on! Alright, at least it's going. Little piece of cramps over here. My creepers went out into the street. There we go. Got that one on. Now let's see if we can put the back one on. basically what I did, I fed this bottom tab of the pad. Obviously you want the material facing the rotor. I fed the bottom pad in first, got it into the slot, and kind of fits in there. And then so I leaned it up and then lined up the top position and pushed the top one in. So that's what I'm going to try to do now on the back one. Alright, so got both of the pads in. So, see if we can fit this guy down. Alright. That works. Let this girl back in the hole. Got a ripped glove. Now, see if we can get this lined up. Might have luck here. Sometimes to get it lined up, you have to wiggle around the whole bracket and whatnot. Tighten it up pretty good. A general rule of thumb with cars, the bigger the bolt or the nut, the tighter you make it. The more pressure you put on it. The smaller the nut, the less pressure you put, it'll snap easier. And in most service manuals, there's technically torque specs on pretty much every single nut and bolt in a car, but nobody gets, their torque wrench, which basically tells you exactly how much the bolt or the nut has been torqued. Nobody gets that out for, stuff like this or basic nuts and bolts. You usually use that for critical stuff like clutches, transmission stuff, head bolts, stuff inside the actual engine. That stuff's pretty critical, but the stuff out here is not quite as critical for that, for a torque spec. You just want it nice and tight. Make it tight! I ain't go quite as tight on these as I did on the back ones because they're smaller. So you will have a little bit of wiggle here, and maybe a little here, because to get it tight you have to hit the brakes a few times to get the piston to come back out to the proper spot, then it will hold tight. And also once you get the wheel on here and torque down, it'll hold the rotor in tight as well. Some cars, they have like a little set screw. This doesn't really have it, but I'll have a set screw for to hold the rotor in nice and tight, so you get the wheel on alignment purposes and whatnot. But we're done with this side. Only thing you gotta do for every brake job, you gotta use brake clean or any kind of brake cleaner. Basically spray the out of the rotor on both sides. That way it cleans off any contaminants, any grease, oil, from handling it with your hands or from the manufacturing process or the packaging, whatever the case. Basically, it's a simple concept. If you have oil and whatnot on here, you go to squeeze. Think about it, when you go to grab something that's really oily and slick, it'll slip out of your hand. You don't have as good a grip. You don't have the clamping force. So it's the same concept. You have oil on here, your car's not going to stop properly because it's going to keep slipping through the pads. You want the pad to grip onto the rotor nice and tight. So basically use brake cleaner, you just spray the shit out of it, and that's it. Oh, there. Sometimes it's in park, so it's not spinning easily, but that's it. I also like to put anti-seize on here, on this pad, because I've had many wheels over time. The wheel itself will bond and basically rust together with the pad. And you're stuck on the side of the road, you can't get your goddamn wheel off, it's pouring rain, it's like 35 degrees out, and cars are flying, 18-wheelers are flying by you at 85 miles an hour, and you're half a breath away from death. So you're better off doing an extra step now and being effed later. Well, that's your basic process for changing the brakes, and you just repeat all those steps at each wheel. So for the other wheels, because so you don't suffer anymore, I don't want you to suffer. I'm just going to do time lapse at the other wheels so you could verify I did do it. Ran into a bit of a teeny tiny problem, but I already took care of it. I was finishing up the front right wheel here, and this guy snapped. If we get in focus here, this guy snapped. Sorry for the beeping in the background. As you can see here, it was the guide pin and the bolt that goes into the guide pin here. I already packed everything. I went to the store, got this and everything, and obviously threw it in. So the front right's done. So we're gonna move on to the rear. Obviously it's dark out now. I'm sitting here getting blinded by the camera light for your viewing pleasure. You're welcome. But as you can see, it's all the time-lapse stuff. I finished all the brakes around the whole car. Only thing I have left to do now is I am going to bleed the brakes all the way around. I'm going to try to flush out some of the old liquid. I'm not going ape crazy and getting every single ounce out, but I'm going to try to get most of the old crap out and put in fresh fluid. It's just a good thing to do. I did a previous video, which I will link up here, about flushing brakes and everything like that. There's a little bit to it, and I don't want to sit here and bore you for 5-10 minutes, but basically very quickly, there's a bleeder screw on every caliper. There's multiple ways of doing it, but I hook a clear tubing to each bleeder screw, and then open it up, and then you pump the brakes and basically pumps the fluid out. There's more to it than that, but I'll watch the other video and you'll see some more. But you start with the furthest wheel away from the wet reservoir, which is in front of it's on the driver's side firewall in the engine bay. So you start with the rear right, then you go rear left, then you go front right, then you go front left. If your car for some reason has the reservoir in a different place, then you would do it a different sequence. That's just how it works. But got all the brakes done, thank God. So, is there dirt on my forehead? Oh, maybe not, I don't know. But the bugs are starting to get at my ass, and I'm not trying to deal with that right now. And I can't see anything right now because of this damn camera light. It's just all I see is spots. So bleed the brakes, throw the wheels on, jack her down, and she'll be done with it. So, oh, one thing I forgot to mention. I'll put a picture right here, right now. Or you know what? I'll put a picture like over the video, but not like covering the whole screen. I'll put it right here. I'll put a picture here. With this car and some cars, the rear, it has drum and disc brakes. Drum is for the emergency brake, disc is for regular brakes. So when you pull the rotor off to replace the rotor, you have to actually dial back. In the picture I'll put a little arrow to it or something, but you basically have to dial back you want to kind of shrink in the brake shoes. Otherwise they're out too far. And then with the new rotor is a little bit bigger because it hasn't been worn. So it won't fit over the brake shoes unless you bring them back in. So that is a good thing. Also, to get it off, you have to basically kind of hammer and pop them off because the brake shoes are pressing a little bit. They're tough to get off, the back ones. So I just took a hammer and started whacking like an animal. Like an animal! Like an animal, George! Alright, so I'm trying not to get attacked by some bats here flying overhead. Whoa, whoa, wow, watch out. So don't forget to subscribe down here, give me a like, give me a comment, tell me anything you want to tell me. Tell me about your relationship with your mother. I want to know about that. I want to know how things are going in that department. I hope she's doing well. I hope you're doing well. And drive fast, take chances.